Hello, and this is Kerry from Your Level Best, and today I'm going to talk about adding vitamin C to a recipe. Now, there's lots of ways that you can add vitamin C to a recipe, and I'm going to go over some of the things that I use personally to add vitamin C to a recipe. Now, why do we need vitamin C? Well, vitamin C is very important for the body. Vitamin C helps to protect our cells from free radicals, which is important. It helps you absorb iron from plants, and it helps the immune system protect you from disease. Now, notice I didn't say in that list that it prevents colds or it boosts your immune system. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to kind of get on my soapbox a little bit, because vitamin C happens to be one of those vitamins that a lot of people have this idea of that it's going to help them. It's going to help them ward off colds. It's going to boost the immune system. Well, if you look at the blog post, I do talk a little bit about the science that's behind whether or not vitamin C helps you ward off colds. And so far, the science isn't definitive. There have been slight increases, but not enough to make it an effect. If there was an effect, you'd actually see in a study that a lot of people were being helped, but so far there hasn't been any science out there. The second thing I want to mention is the boosting of the immune system. This one's a little bit frustrating, only because I think a lot of people look at boosting the immune system as I'm going to make my immune system stronger and it's going to work better. But really, you don't want to boost your immune system, and here's why. A boosted immune system causes things like Crohn's disease, arthritis, or rheumatoid arthritis, things that actually attack the body. And when the immune system is boosted, it starts to attack the body, good cells and bad. So when you see somebody with an autoimmune disease, that's a boosted immune system, and that's not what you want. So to give you a little bit more insight on exactly what a boosted immune system looks like, I'm going to show a little animation that talks a little bit specifically about Crohn's disease, but I think it'll give you an idea of what a boosted immune system really looks like.
So what's thought to happen is that one of these pathogens activates the immune system by antigen presentation, meaning one of the gastrointestinal cells is like, here, I think this is an infectious molecule. And that's fine, because it is. At that point, T helper cells, or Th1 cells, swoop in and release cytokines, which are cell signaling molecules, like interferon gamma and tumor necrosis factor alpha, which further stimulate the inflammatory response. The cytokines attract inflammatory cells like macrophages, which start releasing even more inflammatory substances like proteases, platelet activating factor, and free radicals, all which contribute to inflammation. Although not definitively understood, it's thought that for patients with Crohn's disease, one of the steps in this process is dysfunctional and leads to an unregulated and out-of-control inflammatory response.
So now that you've seen that, I don't think you really want to have a boosted immune system. I think what we really want to have is an immune system that's balanced, that attacks the right things and isn't overreacting to other things. Even allergies, for example, the seasonal allergies that a lot of people get, that's an overactive immune system. It's reacting to things in the environment that it doesn't necessarily need to. So I'll go ahead and get off my soapbox now. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about adding vitamin C to a recipe. I just told you how important vitamin C is for your body. And the best way to get it, again, and I'll say it again in every single one of my ingredient recipes and videos, is that you're better off eating your vitamins than taking a bunch of pills. So here's how I make sure there's enough vitamin C in a recipe. So what I have here in front of me is I have some vegetables. Here's the things that I use. I know that there are other things that boost vitamin C in a recipe, but these are things that I use all the time. And really the two things that I use the most are broccoli. And broccoli is one of those things, I know you either love it or you hate it, but it's actually a very good source of vitamin C. I do actually have on the blog post how much vitamin C it contains, but it does have a good amount of vitamin C to add to a recipe. And one of the things I will mention about broccoli that I think a lot of people don't do is they'll cut off the crown, the pretty florets, and then they'll dump the rest of this stem. So when you're actually making your broccoli, what you want to do is you cut off the crown and then take the stem, and I know why some people don't like the stem, because they're like, man, it's chewy, it's woody, it's really unpleasant. But actually, that just means you didn't peel it. So what you need to do is when you cut off the stem, you take a vegetable peeler and peel off that woody outside layer. And once you get down to the tender inside, chop it up, and you're wasting a lot less vegetable and you're getting a ton of vitamin C. The other thing that I use a lot are bell peppers. I probably use green bell peppers more than I use red bell peppers. Green bell peppers I use in a lot of dishes. Again, this is one of those that some people really like those or they don't. But I think it's a good neutral way of putting some vitamin C in your food. But red bell peppers are nice and sweet. These I actually use in place of tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. Like this is not what I would put in a tomato sauce or substitute for tomato sauce. I actually use pumpkin for that, which I mentioned in another video. But I actually use this one in place of fresh tomatoes. Now, fresh tomatoes are things that also provide a lot of vitamin C, but it's something that I don't use. The reason being that both Tony and myself react badly to tomatoes. We love them, we love the taste, and if you can tolerate eating tomatoes, I think you should. So that's another way of getting your vitamin C. So again, tomatoes are good, but we use the red bell pepper in its place if I need a fresh tomato taste without the fresh tomatoes. One of the other things that I use a lot, and this is mostly in my breakfast, I do like to eat fruit, but I don't have a ton of it laying around just because fruit is one of those things that goes bad pretty quickly. And I actually use the freezer. These are actually some of my frozen strawberries that I eat in the morning. I actually use these in the morning in my yogurt. So this is one way to get vitamin C, and if you don't have the fridge space, or you're afraid you're not going to eat all of the fruit that you keep in your fridge, the best thing to do is actually buy it frozen. This I buy from a restaurant supply store where I can get 5 pounds for a fairly low price, whereas I think my grocery store sometimes carries frozen strawberries, and they're quite expensive. They're actually double or triple the price. So I actually get these from a restaurant supply store and buy them in 5-pound bags so we can use them in things. One of the other things that we use, and I don't have one in front of me, is pineapple. I actually use pineapple in a lot of, believe it or not, savory recipes because it tastes good. It actually complements a lot of chilies, a lot of Asian food, a lot of different cuisines. So I use pineapple sometimes to raise the vitamin C in a recipe. Another thing I use sparingly, I don't actually eat them, are citrus fruit. Citrus fruit is another way that you can get vitamin C in your recipe. You can use the juice, which is what I normally do. I use a little bit of juice in recipes. I don't necessarily eat the entire fruit, especially oranges, and I love oranges, but they also react badly. They're fairly acidic, and if you can't tolerate a lot of acid, it's hard to eat oranges, but I do use the juice sometimes, which is another way to boost the vitamin C in a recipe. That's it for this video. We hoped you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below on how you increase the vitamin C in your recipe. We will have a recipe using some of these ingredients coming up on the next video. Stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.